Howdy everybody, I'm Sam Pfeifle. I'm the editor of SPARPointGroup.com. Thanks for coming to the video blog today. I know that we have been on hiatus for a little while, and I am happy to say that we are back in action every other week starting now all the way through the end of 2012. Unless I get, hit by a bus or something. Anyway, this week I'm really focusing on my two trips to Orlando that I just got back from over the last 2 weeks. First, I went to Faro's 3D documentation conference. Then I went to Riegl's mobile and airborne scanning conference. Now, many of you who are readers of the site will know that I sort of did a compare and contrast of those two things, and they were very much different events. You had terrestrial on one side, mobile and aerial on the other side. You had Faro, who's reaching out to the masses on one side, Riegl, who is much more for the surveying crowd on the other. But this video blog is not about how they were different, it's about the themes that really popped up similar, same to same at both events. So first of all, theme number one, I'm going to count all the way to 5 here. So theme number one is that LiDAR and laser scanning is still really just getting started. One of the things that struck me at both events is how many people were still brand new to laser scanning. How many people still were coming to their first laser scanning conference. Maybe it's not so much of a surprise at Faro, where they're advertising relatively inexpensive devices and they're marketing to the mass market on the cover of Popular Science. But even at the Riegl event, guys who've been flying planes doing orthophotos and aerial photography for 50 years, they're just even now exploring buying a LiDAR system, and they're at the Riegl conference learning really the first things that they are going to know about what LiDAR is. So for those of you who are bullish on the market growing, I would completely agree with you. I think there's yet a whole lot of area to cover and a whole lot of people to bring into the fold. So number two, 3D printing. I know that a lot of people in the laser scanning and data acquisition area think 3D printing is sort of outside of what we do. But I'm completely convinced that 3D printing is going to be a big driver for our marketplace. I think maybe it's a fad, maybe we're in the top of the hype curve and it'll come back down to reality. But things like the Cubify, things like the MakerBot, these are going to be drivers for people to be much more interested in 3D data. And yes, they are going to be designing stuff from scratch, but they're going to want to scan and they're going to want to capture those things that already exist and make replicas. That's just going to happen, and I'm completely convinced of that. And I heard a lot of buzz about 3D printing at both shows, even at Riegl, you'd be surprised. The third thing is the software is not there yet. This is not to say that the software companies who are working right now are doing a bad job. It's not to say that there isn't useful software out there, but I can't tell you how many times I've heard at these shows someone make the remark that the hardware is way out in front of the software. The hardware is capturing more and more data, millions and millions of points, billions of points. People start saying, oh, we've got tens of millions of points, thinking that's impressive. That's not even impressive anymore. That's 10 seconds of scanning. We're talking about terabytes of data. And it's not even so much that the software isn't there yet, but just the computing world is not there yet. Sure, storage is getting cheaper and processors are getting faster, but they can't quite yet keep up with the amount of data capture. I mean, in some ways that's always the problem. People are always going to want to store more and process more information no matter how fast and how big these things are. But especially right now, we are capturing way more data than we know what to do with. Just about everybody agrees that before you can work with most point clouds, you got to throw a whole bunch of information away. And that's very troublesome to a lot of people in the industry. The fourth thing, accuracy. Accuracy. People are talking about it all the time. One of the consistent themes, though, is that accuracy is all relative, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know here, but this idea that we need 5mm or below accuracy for laser scanning to be useful or for photogrammetry to be useful to people is just crazy. There are all sorts of applications for 3D data capture where an inch accuracy would be fine. Historic preservation, all of these visual applications into marketing, into gaming, and capturing 3D data does not have to be survey grade accuracy all the time. And once we sort of get past that and realize that those people who don't need 5mm accuracy still can and you will use 3D data capture, the market is going to continue to grow. We got to stop worrying about everything being down to that finest millimeter. And then finally, and this is something that maybe I notice more coming from other industries where this isn't necessarily the truth, but scanning is remarkably a young person's industry right now. I've got experience going to conferences in a lot of different industries, and you'd be surprised at how many of them are really populated by the 50 and above crowd. You know, generally those are the sorts of people that are the VPs and CEOs of their companies. They're the ones that can travel to nice places like the Gaylord Palms. But when I go to these 3D conferences, there are a lot of people under 30, under 40 who own their own companies, who are VPs in their companies. And that's because the younger generation is very excited about this data capture industry, and they are going in for it full bore. And the kids that are coming out of the universities right now, and they're probably not kids, they're probably 30-year-olds with master's degrees and PhDs, but the people coming out of the universities, that's where a ton of the talent and a ton of the drive is going to be. And you're going to see a big influx of young business people coming into 3D and trying to make some hay, and that is a very good thing for the industry. I can't tell you how much I kept remarking upon the fact that there are young people in leadership positions in 3D, and that's a very good thing for the health of the industry and the future of the industry. So those are my 5 takeaways. Those are 5 ways that I really felt like the Riegl and Faro events were the same. You're going to see me building on those themes at SPARPointGroup.com and in video blogs as we go forward. And I really want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.